Hi, this is Jonathan Rosenhead, Jerusalem psychotherapist. This week's Torah and Psychology post for Parshas Vayikra is going to discuss the psychology of sin. So from a psychological perspective, you could say that sin is related to the Freudian concept of repressed emotions, and how Freud took a rather negative view of human nature. But I think this week's Parsha can teach us to look at sin, look at the chet in a more positive way. So when someone does something wrong, a sin perhaps, they bring a carbon chatos. And bringing a carbon chatos can be seen as a way of externalizing the blame and externalizing the guilt, rather than internalizing it and being stuck in this in a state of mind of self-blame and being self-critical. So this carbon chatos is a more adaptive way of responding to a sin, responding to a chet, and externalizing that guilt. But still, perhaps a chet is a sin, you've done something wrong. So we can develop this a little bit further. In Sefer Shoftim, we read during the battle between Shevet Binyamin and the rest of Bnei Yisrael, that there's a pasuk that says that the soldiers of Shevet Binyamin were so accurate that they were able to throw a stone at a hare and they wouldn't miss. And when the pasuk says they wouldn't miss, it says Shelo Yachti. Yachti, this word is related in its root to the idea of a chet, of a sin. But here the pasuk says that they couldn't miss. So this suggests that a sin, a chet, is not actually something negative, like that you've actually done a sin. It's missing the mark. And this is a whole different way, a shift in perspective, a little bit like what we were talking about last week, of a cognitive reframing, that the chet is not a sin, but it's missing the mark. We set targets, we try our best, but sometimes we fail. So perhaps we need to change our position, change the target even, try again. And this is the response to a chet being when someone misses the mark, rather than that they sin, which has negative connotations. And furthermore, when someone is worried that they've done something wrong perhaps, but they're not sure, they bring a carbon asham instead of a carbon chatos. And this can be seen from a psychological perspective as being a carbon which is anxiety induced. They're so worried, somebody is so concerned that they've done something wrong that they have to bring a carbon. So is this an adaptive thing? Is this something positive, to have a carbon to assuage our anxiety? But now we have this concept of missing the mark. It suggests that the carbon asham is not an anxiety-induced carbon, but rather a motivational tool to keep our eye on the target, to motivate us to try again, to accept that we missed the mark and perhaps we're not doing as well as we could to achieve our targets, but we can try again and remain focused. Have a great Shabbos and keep well.